I'm here in Louisville at the IYCA Summit, and I'm here with former Tennessee strength and conditioning coach Ronnie McKeefery. Ronnie has helped like about 1 million people get into the strength and conditioning field, and I know you get questions maybe not 1 million, but you get a lot of questions about how to break into the field from people. So, what do you tell them?
Well, Jim, the first thing is to get qualified. And there's a big difference between being qualified and being qualified with experience. But the minimum standard is obviously a degree in exercise science or an exercise science related field, and then being credentialed. Having an IYCA certification or a CSCS or a CSCCA certification, and that's the bare minimum. Too many times, young coaches, they feel like they go through the 4 years, college, they maybe go through a master's program, they get their certification, and they feel like they can do the job. And so much of this job is on the job training. It's kind of the old apprenticeship, from back in the day, learning how to be a lawyer, learning how to be a doctor, whatever. And that's really where our field is right now. It's a young profession that we're still learning our trade through apprenticeship. Until we have a degree-seeking program in strength and conditioning, that's going to be the case. So once you become qualified, you have to be qualified with experience. And that's where it gets into internships and graduate assistant positions and finding opportunities to network with the right coaches so that you can learn the trade. And such a critical piece, but it's also a piece that, because there's such a surplus of coaches, it often comes at a price. You're having to make a sacrifice on your behalf to go get that experience, because it's a premium right now.
Mm-hmm. I heard you tell somebody, or maybe you were telling me, that I thought it was pretty interesting advice about a GA position versus going and finding a great coach and interning under them while you're getting your master's degree.
Sure.
Kind of explain that.
Well, I've made mention to my interns in the past that the right coach, the right person to learn from is almost as valuable. It's probably more valuable than just saying that you have a graduate assistantship position. A lot of times, GA positions, you're getting paid maybe $15,000 for the year. You're doing it at a school maybe where it has one, maybe two other strength coaches, and your network isn't that big. You're overworked because of the number of sports. Your learning opportunity maybe isn't what it should be, and and you're making no money. You chalk that up versus maybe you go and you find a high profile organization that you can be involved with that has maybe 10 strength coaches on staff. Well, you've just expanded your network tenfold a lot of times. And you go and you work part-time somewhere. You go work 20 hours a week somewhere. You can make that $15,000 in a year pretty easily. Just working part-time. Well, most GAs are working 60 hours a week. So if you work part-time 20 hours a week, you went to school, and then you went in and you dropped into the strength coach and said, hey, I'll give you 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week for free. The only thing I ask is in return, after 2 years, and I've got my graduate degree and I've given you 2 years of work and I've earned your respect, you mentioned that I'm a graduate assistant for you,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of create your own graduate assistantship position that way, and you do it in a place that you could potentially have advancement.
Mm-hmm.
If a place has 10 strength coaches, there's 9 people that aren't head strength coaches that are looking to go elsewhere, and so there's potential for advancement there. If you know the system, the coach might move you up, as well as you're going to have you're going to create this network of coaches that are going to help you throughout your entire career and contribute to your development.
And the networking is absolutely critical, and I get a lot of emails saying, hey, I sent my resume in for such and such a job, but they just hired their guy, there's somebody they knew. And you've hired a lot of people. Just be honest, do you usually hire people that you know, or do you ever just pick a resume out of a stack and hope for the best?
Very, very rarely do I go outside of people that I know, or people that I know, that I trust, that recommend. And again, it goes back to being qualified with experience is still not enough. You got to be qualified in the environment in which you're going to go into. When you especially work at a high profile, maybe working with high caliber NFL athletes or NHL athletes or Major League Baseball or major college, if you've not been in that arena and understand all the social pressures that go along with it, all the time demands that are required of the athlete, all the maybe socioeconomic demands or the population that you deal with, then it's almost like learning a foreign language, you know, and it's not the environment to learn that, you know, as an assistant. And so you have to be exposed to it in manageable doses throughout your career, so that way you're prepared to handle those things when you're put into an authoritative type of position, such as an assistant or a head strength coach.
So a lot of people think, oh, I was a personal trainer and I trained a high school football player, now I'm ready to be a strength coach. And it sounds like you're saying, no, there's a lot more to it.
Or even cross sports. You know, there's a big difference between dealing with a college football player and maybe going pro baseball. You know, it's just not the same environment. You know, now physiologically, a bicep on a baseball player is no different than a bicep on, you know, a football player. You know, you're going to train with the same physiological principles, but the way in which you attack that athlete, the time demands, the schedule, all those things, that's what's different. And when you get to the higher levels, it's not the time for on-the-job training. You know, you're being held at a high. Everybody's being held at a high level of accountability, with coaches losing their jobs left and right because of performance. So that's not the time. We're not looking. You know, you're not looking to do that, and you're not looking to break somebody in and figure out if they're a good fit for you.
Right.
You need to know that they're a good fit for you. So that's why hiring people that you know is so important, and it goes back to the networking piece of you got to get out there and you got to meet coaches.
And you're practicing right now because you're sitting here across the table from Mike Robertson, and you know, Mike's talking to you, and people at conferences like this, they get to know each other, and that's a huge piece of it. So,
no question.
All right, Ronnie.
Thanks, Jim.
And Mike, thanks for your time, guys.